Today, I'm going to take you through a follow-along glute and lower body stretch. Use this after doing a glute or a leg day, and you are going to reduce the risk of injury, have better recovery, which means better glute results. Woohoo! So we're gonna do 5 stretches and we're gonna hold each one for 30 seconds. Focus on holding the stretch and listening to the form tips, and I'll let you know when it's time to switch positions. So let's get started. Okay, so first one is called a figure 4 stretch. You are gonna cross your ankle over your knee, and then you're just going to grab your opposite leg through your arms and then pull it back. So I'm gonna set my timer and then I'm going to explain just a couple little form tips for you. Baxter's nearby crying. Okay, Baxter! So you're gonna hold it, and what you wanna do is, depending on your flexibility, is pull your knee closer or further away. So obviously if you're less flexible, you could stay here. Honestly, I've even seen some people have to stay here and then progress and pull further and further. But the key thing is just keeping your lower back on the floor, because when you pull up, you don't want this happening. Otherwise, you're not going to be stretching anything. So keep that planted and then pull, and then let this knee flare out, and then you should feel this in your outer glutes. Now it's time to switch sides. Let me switch and I'll repeat the timer. So same thing, make sure you're holding and then gently pulling it towards you, and then holding the position. So this knee here, I just pay attention to how it feels. I kind of like pushing it out a little bit, and then you can kind of really feel different areas of your glutes stretching. Everyone is built so differently, so it's not going to feel the exact same for everyone. So kind of play around with the positioning and make sure you're feeling it, but not in a painful way. So we have a couple. Okay, we're at 30 seconds. Okay, so next stretch, we are going to reach for our leg. So again, I'm going to explain it quickly before we go into holding the stretch. You're extending one leg, keeping the other one bent, and then you're reaching. The key here is not to let your other hip start to raise, because then you're not getting a proper stretch. So make sure it stays planted, and then you're bending and reaching. So I'm going to start my timer. And then make sure to, again, everyone's flexibility is different. So if you feel it here, then that's totally fine. But obviously the more flexible you get, you can reach farther. Now you may feel this in your hamstring. I also feel it in my, kind of like in my side, which is actually quite nice. If I really want to feel it in my side, I'll pull up my arm and kind of like tilt, or even go like this. Okay, that's 30 seconds. Now we are going to switch sides. So again, straight leg and reach. Now again, another thing you want to think about is you never want to do like super slouchy, because then like I'm not stretching anything. So you want to kind of pull or up here, and then side stretch. Again, remember to keep your hip bone down. Don't let it float up with this. Pull. And always breathe. Don't forget to breathe. Very easy to start like holding your breath and being like, but that is definitely not what you want. Okay, so next one. This one, I feel like everyone, including myself, like this is a tough one. So this one's for your hamstrings. So your legs, your hamstrings are just straight out, and then you reach. Key thing again, no rounding of the back. If I'm rounding and just reaching, there's no stretch in my hamstring, and that's where you want to feel it. So you're gonna keep the legs straight. Don't round. If you can only go here, that's fine. So we're going to start the timer, and then stretch as far as you comfortably can. And then throughout the 30 seconds, you could sink deeper into it. So that's kind of like the nice thing. So you can feel this in your hamstrings. I often feel this a little bit in my lower back as well. And then sometimes you can also like point your feet instead of flexing them, and then you can kind of feel it a bit extra here. So it's kind of nice just having different little tweaks in the stretches sometimes. Okay, so next stretch. Okay, so this one, you're gonna need something to put your back leg on, because we're putting our back leg up and we're stretching basically our back hip. So I'm gonna do it here. So as you can see, I'm putting my leg against the wall, bending my knee, and then I'm gonna put my other foot forward and I'm gonna sit upright. So you should feel this in your back hip. I'm gonna start the timer now. So now we're holding it, and then just kind of, again, depending on your level of flexibility, you may wanna like not be in so deep. Or some days if I'm really tight and I'm just feeling like I need even more of a stretch, I'll kind of like, I'll hold on to something and lean to the side, and then I feel it all throughout my hip and my side. But again, that's not something you need to rush into. That's something to progress into. So we're gonna hold this one. We're done. Now time for the other leg. So same thing, you're gonna put your back leg up on something. It could be a chair, the wall, a couch. Okay, so we're gonna start our timer. And then we're gonna stretch into it. Yeah, this is one of my favorite hip stretches because, well, it's not just your hip, it's like your hips, glute, back. So if you have issues with with back pain at all, doing this can be great. Like if you've been sitting for a while, sometimes if I'm doing legs and I'm getting some lower back tightness, I'll do this stretch and I'll feel a bit better. So there's a lot of benefits. Okay, so now we're done with this one. So now, we're moving on to our last stretch, and that is a pigeon stretch. So this is another one that has multiple different levels of difficulty. This is one also where I feel like it looks harder than it is. You're bending your front leg in front of you and just holding. So you can fold over. When I do that, I'm actually feeling it a little bit more in my glute. So just wherever's most comfortable. So I'm gonna start the timer. So you hold that, and then I'll show you the more advanced version after we hold this one, just so we can kind of progress to it. Just because I kind of like doing this one first and then doing the level up. So yeah, if you want, go in, you can lean through it. And yeah, feel it nicely. I did legs yesterday, so I've got a bit of glute soreness, so this feels super nice right now. Whew. Okay, time to switch legs. So same thing, bend your leg in front of you, and starting the timer now. Sometimes too, actually, if you sit up, you can kind of feel your back hip. That's what stretches are great, because you can just like stretch around in the stretch, you feel different muscles. It's lots of fun. We have 5 seconds left. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to like the more, I guess it's intermediate, advanced-ish. So it's kind of a step up. So if you are not yet at this point, that is totally fine. I'm actually kind of rusty on mine, so I'm working on it again. So basically it's the same thing, but instead you're lifting your back foot. And now this is actually really good because it opens up, you'll start to feel more of a stretch in like your back hip and your quad. So, and then when you go beyond that, you can, and if you grab your foot with your hand, you start to feel that in your shoulders as well. So it's kind of like a nice full body stretch. Now I'm a little, like, it's a little bit hard to grab your feet. I used to be really good at this one, so I'm working on getting it back. But, my sock is coming off. It's actually kind of a nice way to help yourself. But yeah, see, this is like, even though it's upper body, like that can really, say after if you do like heavy squats or deadlifts, your upper body can still be sore, so this is still very beneficial. Okay, if you're getting into a stretch that's more challenging, you may not want to hold it as long when you're in like the deepest part of the stretch. So yeah, so we're gonna do that. We're gonna do this side. Yeah, so just if you're not at this point yet, just slowly work up to it. You could start here and then next start here and then transition to being able to do it like this. Good thing for my sock. Is this like a thing? Because I feel like it's really convenient. Like this should be a thing. Like I know like there's straps for yoga and stuff, but they should just have special socks for it. Okay, you always come out of it nicely, as nice as you can. I might forget to do that sometimes. I'll just be like, bah! I'm out of the stretch. Those are our 5 stretches. So these are my favorite leg glute not exercises, stretches. So do these not just after a glute or leg day, but even if you've been sitting for a while, or even the day after a workout if you're feeling sore. And it's just gonna help you with your range of motion, your mobility, and your recovery, which is all very important to seeing best results. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for next week's video that was postponed from this week, but it's my glute reverse dieting video, and it's gonna be a really good one. So like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out, and I'll see you next Friday. Bye!